Hello, and welcome to the Realigned Journey, the unfiltered guide to self-discovery and reconnection. I'm Sierra Sambrowski, your host, and together we'll deep dive the topics that have caused us to lose touch with ourselves and explore ways to reconnect to our true self. This season, we are actually digging into people's personal stories that caused a pivotal moment in their life and helping them to realign their journey. This week, I have with me Meredith Ochoa, a true explorer and creative Atlanta artist. Meredith has been reinventing alternative and digital photo processes since 2007. She has created an ongoing 13-year augmented reality interactive art series called Every Phase, illustrating how she healed herself from endometriosis by incorporating the female infradian rhythm clock. With a master's of art from Savannah College of Art and Design, Meredith is a podcast host, photographer, photo curator, and award-winning author of Face Your Shit, Heal Yourself, all of which is created to help others face their pain and see themselves for who they really are. Hi, Meredith. Thanks for being here.
Sierra, so good to be here. Such a warm introduction. Thank you so much.
You are very welcome. I know this is going to be a fabulous conversation. We actually don't know each other super well, but the first time we had a chance to connect, it was a fantastic conversation. And I was like, this girl's got some stories. I can't wait to have you. So
Oh,
let's
I
jump
agree.
in. Yeah, let's jump in here. So this episode, like the other ones in this series, is focused around pivotal moments, those things, the events that were unforeseen that happen that come over us, and all of a sudden we're like, what the hell have I been doing? This is all wrong, right? And I'm sure
Yeah,
you've had one or two of those.
a couple.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
a few.
So, do you want
Yeah.
to jump in whichever one you feel like starting with in as much detail as you want? Talk to us a little bit about one of those moments and how it shifted things for you.
Yeah, definitely. So it ain't my first rodeo,
Mm-hmm.
maybe, and that's kind of illustrated in the bio. So there's been a few things that I've that have really caused me a lot of pain that I've alchemized and have really become my power. One being an eating disorder, healing from sexual abuse, healing myself from endometriosis. But I kind of want to talk about something recent, which is so relevant because I'm on this show right now and
Mm-hmm.
it's public speaking. So,
Oh,
yeah.
so how's
And
that been going?
listen, I just had this realization. So, and I don't know how many of the listeners are like into astrology. Listen, you don't have to be an astrology nerd or into astrology to look around and realize like all the world's a stage and holy shit, the actors are they can't keep up their costumes this year.
Mm-hmm.
It's becoming more and more evident, but there's some planetary transits are happening that are wild that haven't happened like since the American Revolution, since huge political
Really?
events. Yeah. So we have this
Wow.
Pluto moved into Aquarius on January 20th. And I'm saying that to say it basically comes in through like a wrecking ball. And if you have shit, it's going to clear it out, and not in a nice way, in like a brick to the face kind of way, but
Oh,
it's one of those like if you do the work, you reap the rewards. If you
yeah.
really look, you know what I mean? We
Yeah.
feel that.
Yeah, because I'm
Yeah,
like, oh yeah, clear that shit out. I know it's not easy.
exactly.
I don't necessarily want a brick to the face though. So can we come up with a softer version for some of us that have done a little more work already?
It depends. Yeah. So if you've
Yeah.
already done the work, then it's like, okay, you know. But for a lot of people that are below the veil of consciousness, which
Hmm.
is a lot of people, unfortunately. But I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
with with this Pluto energy, it's becoming more and more and more and more. I like to say if there was, I'm saying this year, if there ever was a face your shit, heal yourself year, it's
Yeah.
2024.
Yeah.
It's this year. We
Yeah.
have, the Great American eclipse, huge blackout eclipse, North American eclipse happening April 8th. We have several other things I talk about, but I'm not an astrologer, but I'm saying all that to say I have felt this energy
Mm-hmm.
intensely,
Mm-hmm.
intensely. I'm an Aquarius sun, but other people have felt it just this month. There's a lot going on the world stage. There's a lot going on in like the spiritual war. So there's a lot of psychic attacks. I am an empath,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm very obviously sensitive to what's going on spiritually as well as other people.
Mm-hmm.
So, and if you don't know what an empath is, I like to say the only difference between a psychic and an empath is a psychic knows it's not theirs.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they go hand in hand. If you're an empath, it's a psychic ability.
Mm-hmm.
So you're able to attune to others and really get in their space and be it's a natural attunement to oneness, which is the truth.
Mm-hmm.
So I
I
can
love
feel it if
that definition, by the way. That's
yeah,
so much better and less victim-y than some of the other stuff that I hear. I'm not gonna lie.
please. Yeah. And there's a lot of that. There's a lot of victimization of empaths and
Yeah.
people think it's a curse. It's actually a gift. We need more sensitive people. We need more empaths
Mm-hmm.
incarnating on this planet because we got to the point we're at now because of a lack of sensitivity, because of a lack of empaths. So if you look around at what's going on, our world doesn't really work.
Right.
So all the things that are kind of the opposite of what we've been doing are really being brought brought forth and called upon. So as an empath, I was feeling this Plutonian energy really, really crazy. And I was having what's called kind of a psychic attack, right? And so what that means is any lower level entities, beings, even other people that don't wish you well,
Mm-hmm.
um, basically they can, if you're just think of it as walking down the street and someone just punches you in the face. Doesn't really matter how well trained of a fighter you are, if you're like, and we can obviously dodge it depending
Mm-hmm.
on like how well we've been taking care of ourselves, the unhealed wounds, like all
Mm-hmm.
that stuff, like prevent it. It's all defensive. But if you're just walking down the street, you get punched in the face, you're going to get knocked back,
Uh-huh.
period. It's
Right.
just the rate.
And it
So
doesn't
that
matter how
happens.
intentional it was or how personal it was either, right? Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. That happens on a spiritual level, on an energetic level,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So that happened to me for whatever reason. And what happens is, and I was feeling like crap for a few days. And basically it's just like chaos in your brain. You'll start to think like it's like depressive, like I don't matter, nothing matters, and things that you're like, this isn't me. And you're like really lethargic and tired, and like some some things like kind of siphoning your energy, like psychic vampirism, which is another term for narcissism. But
Right.
this happens on a spiritual level. It doesn't necessarily have to be a person.
Right.
It can be just a being. And so this was happening, and as part of the spiritual war that's happening, a bunch of people, like sensitive people, were feeling this way. And so you start to think these are my feelings, right? Because it's attaching to things that are actually real insecurities,
Yeah.
but it's a lie. It's not. That's the trick. Being
Right.
an empath, you're going to feel it as if it were you. So the first question I really try to ask myself, which is very hard, get to be a stone in the river, like, right? Like the observer. There's all this crap going on in your emotions, and there's you. So I always
Mm-hmm.
ask myself, like, feeling this stuff, I'm like, is this even mine? Right.
Yep.
And because it doesn't make sense. And that's
Right.
the first red flag. If it doesn't make sense, you know, it then it's probably from outside of you.
Right.
So yeah, have you had that
I
experience?
mean, Meredith, you're explaining
Yeah.
this so perfectly because that's how I like whenever somebody is new to it and they're like, "Oh my God, I think I'm empathic. How the hell do I deal with this? This is crazy."
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
indefinitely for myself. That's the way you
Yeah.
just described it is exactly how I try and explain it to people. It's exactly
Yeah.
what I do for myself. Like because I will reach these places where I feel way off kilter and a lot of like cycling thoughts, and that's rare for me anymore in life. And I'm not saying that it's not sometimes my shit, but yeah, exactly. Like if it feels way out of left field, I'll be like, is this mine? And you
Well,
like
yeah.
hear this like internally for me, I like all of a sudden like there's silence if it's not, right? Like all of a sudden it like stops that. And then I'm like, okay, y'all need to go back to wherever it was that you came from because this shit is not mine. I got enough of my own shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Grounding is everything for
Hmm.
me. I can sort it all out psychically as long as I'm grounded. And
Yeah.
so in this particular case of grounding, I'm doing all this stuff, right? And what you said, it's like, it is my stuff. It is my stuff, but it
Yeah.
also isn't. It's
Right.
being influenced and exaggerated. It's
Yeah.
attaching to real insecurities and inflating them like a
Yeah.
balloon
Yeah.
because that's all it has. So the less crap you have for those things to attach to, the more work you've done,
Hmm.
the less likely anything is to happen. So I've done, like you were saying, like yourself, I've done a lot of work. So this doesn't really happen that often. But like I said, there's a lot of big transits happening. So it happened to me. And one of the things in the chaos floating around that I was like, okay, you know what? Mine, not mine, doesn't matter. It's not going away. It's been 5 days. Why don't I use this opportunity to the silver lining of it is using this to heal whatever unhealed wounds I have, whatever real insecurities are coming up in me. I can use this, right, to help me heal myself. So you're leveraging a psychic attack, which is awesome. That's you're alchemizing what is, they want you to be a victim, but you're actually like, no, this is actually an opportunity for me to up level myself. Little energetic boot camp, if you will.
Yeah.
So
Damn, girl.
yeah,
That's good. That's good. Yeah.
it's true.
It
So
is
one
true.
of the things was this public speaking thing, right? These like thoughts like floating around my head, like because I had gone to like a business networking group meeting and I've started, I have a podcast and I do all this crap, but it's different when it's just like you there and you have all your stuff set up. It's much different going and speaking in front of a group. And I've had this thing like in my head and this bad fear for a long time. And part of it's because I'm an empath. I can feel everyone looking. I know what they're thinking. I'm seeing their perception of me. And it's just like psychic overload, right? And I used to just be terrified. I've come a long way, but I used to be absolutely terrified, would never do anything like this. Well, one-on-one stuff has always been okay, but groups for me have always been a challenge until very recently. And I've faked it. Like I've done groups and just been nervous and wanted to die and like done it anyway. So no one
Right.
really knows this about me. But it's been hell inside until very recently, until I made this discovery. So I was like, okay, let's work with that. This public speaking thing, where did this come from? So I started to do what's called shadow work, and that's going towards the shadow, going towards the insecurity, going towards that part of you and really getting to know it, where it came from, not to fix or change, but to understand and to integrate. So, and that's a very important distinction. So,
It sure is. It sure
yeah,
is. Because anytime
yeah.
we want to reject those parts of ourselves, like
Mm-hmm.
there are some people that think like, well, I just need to know that it's there and then get rid of it.
Mm-mm.
But there's nothing to fix in us, right? There's
Right.
nothing to actually get rid of. There may be a bit of transmutation that takes place, but there's always a gift in it, and it just needs to be integrated. Like, there
Yes.
is no sun without the shadow, and the
Yes.
shadow
Yes.
comes from the sun. Like, it is that part of us that comes from our light, and it's just as important as anything else.
It is. It is. And
Yeah.
there's a lot of wisdom to be found. That's where all the growth is. I like to say,
Mhm.
like, you're only as, an old saying, a lot of people say it, you're only as good as your weakest parts. You can apply that to shadow work. You're only as good as the parts that you've denied, disowned, abandoned, rejected. Like, seriously, because that holds the keys to like everything else. So I went with this part and I was like, when was the last time that I felt this way? And then when was the first time? Is there an origin to this part of like feeling like scared of public speaking? And I actually realized I went back and it went back to me and my dad as a child. And I actually realized I don't have a fear of public speaking. I mirrored that and I adopted that from my dad, who has a horrible fear of public speaking
Oh,
because
wow.
I wanted so desperately to be heard and seen and
Mm-hmm.
connect with him that I thought, if I'm like you, then you'll hear me and you'll see me.
Mm.
And that's actually
Yeah.
where it came from. So I realized, like you were saying before, to integrate and understand that part of me held all of that wisdom actually had nothing to do with the fear of public speaking. It actually had to do with connecting with my dad. And
Yeah.
the message was, you don't ever have to dim your light so another can shine. If
Yeah.
you don't connect with people that you have to change for them to hear you.
Mm-hmm.
Connect with people that want to hear you. People are
Mm.
tuning into your podcast. Look at me and you right now. We're
Yeah.
having this opportunity to be with each other and to
Mm.
listen to each other. And it's like, you want to be heard, hear yourself, but
Mm-hmm.
also talk to other people that want to hear you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that was the kind of message. So huge for me. And after I did that, literally the whole psychic attack that I've been having for like that whole week just
Yeah.
lifted.
Yeah.
It was wild. And then I gave like one of the best speeches. I had joined Toastmasters and I went and gave like one of the best speeches that they had ever heard in like 10 years or
Oh
something.
my
It was crazy.
gosh.
It
That's
was crazy.
fantastic. That's
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
But how pivotal that is. Exactly. I know this is why you brought it up because that shifts everything. And it's not just about the public speaking, but think about how it is now integrated that part of you that needed to be seen and heard by your dad and the depth of the healing. Look, I used to say that childhood work and all that was like bullshit. That it was real fatty and
Mhm.
everybody was doing it and everybody was talking about it and everybody wanted to blame everything on childhood wounds. And then it was like,
Mhm.
and so I was rejecting it because I was like, I don't, it can't be y'all. Um, but I've come to sense know that it is deeply important for us, but I think it's really important that we don't come at it from a victim standpoint. I think that's why it turned me off so much is it
Yeah.
felt like everybody was playing the victim and leaning into being this victim because we were children and
Yeah.
we didn't have a choice and we were dependent on people and we didn't know any better. And so
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we, in some ways we were a victim at that time of intentional or unintentional behaviors from the people that were taking care of us and raising us. But it doesn't mean that we have to stay in it,
Mhm.
as grown-ups. However,
Mhm.
the way that you talk about going through the process, and I know that the way the process was for you, it was truly about just healing that space so that
Mhm.
you could this is like my big theme because well, anyway, I won't go to that. But one of the big themes that I've started already this year, is that it helps you get closer to your wholeness.
Yes. Yes.
I say
Absolutely.
this all the time that we are never broken. What
Mhm.
happens is beliefs get broke, trusts get broke, relationships get broke. And because we've attached ourselves to those identities and those things as truth, then it makes us feel like we must be broken then. And it's really just breaking them all down so we can get closer to our wholeness.
Yeah. Yep.
And look at
Absolutely.
you doing the big heavy lifting work on that because that's big.
Yeah. And it seems like it's big, but it's also simple. But
Hmm.
it's big and
Not
little. It's
easy.
big.
It's like
It's not.
simple but not easy.
And granted, this was just a few weeks ago. So this
Right.
came from after doing a lot of other work and other things. But all what I mean by that is just saying it's just taking the time to look, to really look, like just asking a simple question. Like the whole process literally took me about like 10 to 15 minutes to actually literally just spend time with this part and say, like, where did this come from? Like,
Hmm.
do we even ask ourselves like that? Probably not. Most people don't, like, for feelings like, when did it start? Where did it come from? Why? And like really go to like the root of it, because
Yeah.
that's where the wisdom is. That's where the gift is, and that's where all the healing can occur. Of
Yeah.
course, yeah, I have, I can go off on a tangent and I, say filler words and do other things and all these other little criticisms running on in our heads about like public speaking. But my story in my head also changed of like, I'm a fucking awesome speaker. And there's people that want to hear me. I like this. It's time to let this go. Like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's my dad's free will choice if he wants to talk to me or not. And he may never, he
Mm-hmm.
may not. But
Mm-hmm.
guess what? Other people can. Other
Mm-hmm.
people can hear me and I can hear them. And
Yeah.
I don't need, yeah, and I don't need to change for anyone. So it's really just having that, spending time with those parts and really having that realization just from listening, you
Mm-hmm.
know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You brought up about asking yourself the questions. It's funny because I was literally just talking about this last night, and I said, it's like you want to go at least 3 questions deep, but a lot of times you need to get to 5. But just it's about saying, okay, what does this bring up in me? And there's tons of different versions of the way this goes, but saying like, what is this making me feel right now? Where do
Yeah.
I think that comes from?
Yeah.
Why do I think I feel that way? And just
Yeah.
go at least 3 questions in, and then that's when you start to hit some kind of truth.
Right.
Um, and if you can go a little bit deeper, even go to 5 different questions and get 5 questions deep into it. But we can't, I mean, you were super fast. 10 to 15 minutes is fast.
I, well, and I'm in
That's what,
touch with
yeah.
my those parts. I'm in touch with
Yeah,
my inner child.
exactly.
Your inner child's another version. It's your higher self.
Sure.
Straight up. Like that,
Because
your
it's
inner
our pure
child.
essence. Yeah.
Yeah. It can present itself that way in the
Mm-hmm.
form of an inner child. Yeah, because it's closer to source. And
Yeah.
so I've spent time in that space. So we have conversations going, and it's different for everyone. I'm a visual person, so there's a place that I go. They'll, show me visuals and show me time in a way that I understand, and that's unique to everyone.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just being able to have the conversations with yourself, you
Mm-hmm.
know?
Yeah,
Mhm.
for sure. I know, and something else that you had brought up when you were talking before was you were saying about, that be around people that want to hear you. Um, there's so many aspects of things that you just said that like trigger other thoughts and questions for me.
Oh,
But
yay.
one of the things, well, I'll just pull 2 of them. One is, first of all, you said like about, be around people, know that there absolutely are people that want to hear you and see you, and be around those people, right? How many of us, again, largely because of wounding, are chasing after all these people that could really give 2 shits about you? Like they're just never really going to be that interested. They're never really, and I mean, some of us have evolved past this more, but in general, many of us take that so personally. We just can't let it go. And so we keep ourselves stuck in this cycle of like, keep chasing, keep chasing. What do I got to do? What do I got to do? What do I got to do?
Yeah. There's a really cool artist, D, I think. Yeah, D from the Hounds, D Grant
Oh,
Smith.
yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Everyone should go look him up and go to growthfarming.com. He introduced me to this artist, Peach Cup, and you can just check her out because she has affirmations. She's a rapper, and her raps are like affirmations of
Mm-hmm.
just about different things. Like one's the throat chakra, and one of the lines is, "I don't chase, I attract."
Mm-hmm.
And it's like it's kind of been one of my mantras, but I heard that, and it's so true. It's just representative of the 2 different ways of being. You don't need to chase. Like when you realize that you are source and the God within, and everyone else is too, you
Mm-hmm.
realize there's no chasing necessary. There's there's you and what you're attracting for wherever you're at, and that's it. And that's fine. And so is everyone else. But and I say that really simply, but it's not like and I say that as someone who definitely has chased. In no way am like I on a
Mm-hmm.
pedestal at all, because I think another reason too is like we're chasing to prove something to ourselves,
Absolutely.
not even to the other person some of the time. It's like,
We're not really.
no, it's like proving it because we don't really see ourselves
Right.
for who we are. We
Yeah.
see ourselves as, you know, not being able to attract and needing to chase. And down here, and this person we're trying to reach is like on a pedestal up here, and neither of them exist, you know?
Yeah. I do
It's just,
know. That's
it's just
perfectly right. I was saying, and that actually leads right into the other thing. What I was going to say was too is about that we need to start listening to hearing, learning to hear ourselves. That was something else you had like
Mhm,
sprinkled in that into that other piece that I wanted to circle back to because I think everything's a mirror, right? So on
mhm,
top,
mhm,
if you take away the chasing factor, the reason why you're not feeling seen and heard, the reason why you keep outwardly having experiences and relationships where you're not seen and heard is
mhm.
only because you have not really learned to see and hear yourself.
Mhm.
And at the
Yep.
end of the day, once you learn to see and hear yourself, you can give two shits less if anybody else hears you, if anybody
Right.
else sees you, because you see and hear yourself and you and yourself. You know
Yep.
your source, you know where you come from, you know what you're capable of and who you are. And then it doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
Yeah. And that's what was so funny too about this situation is, I hear and see myself. That's exactly what I said in my whole healing journey, in
Mhm.
healing myself from endometriosis. That's the backbone of all healing. It all starts with being authentic, knowing yourself, getting to know those pain parts, those shadow parts. And so I had done all this work in all these other areas, but this speaking thing just didn't match right at
Mm.
all. Like
Mm.
here, like you said, hear yourself. I've heard myself spend all this time in other areas like, okay, wait a second, where did this? And I just kind of accepted this thing about myself that actually wasn't even mine the whole time. It wasn't even true. I accepted like, oh yeah, it's this thing I'm working on and going to classes, going to getting better at it's like, did you even think that maybe this isn't even your issue? And it's so funny how it works like that, but that's that Pluto energy. It's gonna
Mm.
go through the cracks and, like, really get in, even if you've
Mm.
done, like, a lot of work and be like,
Mm.
"What doesn't fit here?"
Yeah,
You know?
interesting. Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting that that's all that Pluto stuff coming in.
Yeah.
Um So you just brought up about your journey with endometriosis, and I know that that's been a big part of that's been hugely transformational for you. I know it's a big part of what you talk about in your podcast. I know it's the art and installation stuff. Um, do you want to just talk about that a little bit? Because I think the reality is that the healing process that you went through doesn't have to be endometriosis. It can be for anybody that's listening that has some kind of chronic illness, that has something that they've not been able to get medical help with and relief from. Um, so I think it's a really important conversation to have if you would be willing to share some of it.
Yeah, definitely. It's a journey, so it is very difficult sometimes to put it in a nutshell.
Mm-hmm.
But essentially, I had endometriosis, debilitating menstrual pain. That's what most people would know endometriosis by. So, not just kind of like, okay, I can like pop some Advil and be
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
No, 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 no. This is
Yeah.
like going to the other side. This is like waking up in pools of blood and sweat. This is like literally going to hell.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I have like what seemed like hell, right? Every month, every
Mm.
single period, and some people actually have it not just on their period, but all the time.
Right. Right.
So, I had this for 17 years,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm now about 4 years healed,
Mm-hmm.
and basically there was one day that, and this happened quite often, but there was one day that I crossed over to the other side, and it really just scared the shit out of me. I was
Mm.
really just like, I realized from doing that that I could no longer hide, that I could no longer live a double life, because that's the thing with endo, periods, it's so taboo to talk about.
I
No one,
know.
there's no, and what's hilarious about that is we all came from a period. We all came from someone with a period. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's how we all got here, and we
Yeah.
can't even talk about it. We can't
Yeah.
even talk about it. It's so, there's zero education. And
Mm-hmm.
this is by design. This is on purpose, because if women knew the power of their period, there wouldn't be, first of all, birth control would be non-existent because of the damage that it does. And by the way, I had on multiple medications, birth controls, surgeries. I went the Western medicine route, and it failed at every turn.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, doctors told me, it was all in my head, that
Really?
it was an emotional issue. Oh yeah. And they even said, consider becoming a man, because one of the
What?
one of the most, get this, one of the most common prescriptions for endometriosis is a drug called Lupron, which
Okay.
is a puberty blocker, and it is for transitioning sexes. So facial hair might grow, your voice might
Oh.
deepen. Yes, these are all side effects because it removes estrogen. Company's been criminally sued, charged, and still prescribed, doctors still prescribe this as treatment for endometriosis. It's
Oh
wild.
my gosh.
Yes, this is happening all the time. So my story, unfortunately, is not unique to
Yeah.
people with endo, and I wish that it were. I wish that it were. But the gaslighting from Western medicine doctors truly was my disease. I wouldn't even
Mm.
say endometriosis was the disease. The gaslighting, Western medicine was my disease. Doctors were my disease, because every single treatment that they referred me to was all symptom treating. No one
Right.
actually looked at the root cause of endometriosis, which is considered an autoimmune disorder, because it's, why did the immune system not detox excess estrogen
I see.
that it's still hormonally responding to outside the uterine wall?
Yeah.
That
And
is, yeah.
I would
Mm-hmm.
say I did not realize that. So thank you for sharing that root cause. And I was just going to quickly add in there that this is why I think the conversation is important for a lot of people, because the reality of the situation is that almost a whole lot of Western medicine is only treating symptoms for whatever the illness and disease is. They just
Right.
focus on the symptoms and they're not focusing on the root causes.
Right.
But
Right. And there's a whole, our disease doesn't just come from eating shit. Of course, food, all of this stuff contributes highly, highly to disease.
yeah,
But
yeah,
how
yeah.
about how about feeling safe? How about nervous system regulation?
Mm,
Stress. I
mm,
had experienced sexual abuse on the onset of my period.
right,
All of that. Where is all that in
right,
discussing this in the
right.
treatment? It's non-existent. You have to go, and I truly believe it will be existent in healthcare moving forward. Like I said, I really do feel like 2024 is an a year of revelation,
Mm,
especially in health,
mm-hmm.
especially all the lies that
Okay.
are out there.
Yeah.
But what I did, so I all of that, right? I experienced all of that, and there was one day that I crossed over to the other side and I just died, right? And you know, you see the light and you see the hands, and they're just like, I'm just like kind of wanting to go,
Did you
right?
for real
And
see the light in the hands?
oh
I mean,
yeah,
I gotta
oh yeah,
ask.
yeah, mm-hmm. And it's all telepathic communication, but really the
Mm-hmm.
message was like, no, it's like, get down, like you got more shit to
It ain't
do,
time
right?
yet. Get your ass
But
back down there.
one of the resounding messages after that was, you really need to see yourself for who you really are.
Mm.
And I was like, what does that even mean, right? Because that sounds so vague, but really what that means, when you see yourself you see the divine.
Right.
You really
When you
see
really see,
yourself.
yeah.
You have access to everything. That's where your freedom comes from you seeing yourself. And that's why I learned through all of that, that my freedom, it's not something the doctors could give me. It's not something anyone could give me but
Mm-hmm.
me. And the best part about that is in educating myself. So, of course, I educated myself hormonally, nutritionally. That's why I created the Every Phase series to educate people, women specifically, about the phases. So, we are on a 28-day clock, whereas
Right.
men are 24-hour. We still have circadian rhythm, which is our 24-hour clock, but we
Mm-hmm.
also have the infradian rhythm, which is the 4 phases. So,
Right.
energetically, we sort of replenish every 28 to 35 days, whereas men is more of a short circuit battery where it's 24 hours, but we live our lives like men. The world was
Right.
designed, yeah, the world was designed
Correct.
by men for men.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, so much so that in a lot of the trials for drugs, they're not even required to include women in the menstruating ages. They only include women in menopause because they're more
Really?
like men. Because they don't want to they deem keeping up with the infradian rhythm and the phases is just too difficult.
Really?
So, really, this
Much
is
like they see
fact.
most of women.
So
Too
we wonder,
difficult. We're all too difficult.
right. So we wonder why, and women beat themselves up. Why am I not losing weight? Why can't I get all this stuff done? Why? Well, first
Yeah.
of all of the trends, pretty much like 95% of all that stuff, all those tests, all those stats, that's for men or
Yeah.
menopausal women that they don't have the infradian rhythm anymore.
Right.
So I really do. After you educate yourself and you know this about your body, you can really leverage and biohack the phases to your favor because there's different brain and body chemistry going on in each phase. So all of this to say, I'm trying to put it in a nutshell,
Yeah,
what
no, you're
my
doing great.
what my pain was, right? My period
Yeah.
and the phases, all this, the things I wanted to avoid actually became the things that I wanted to get closer to. My pain became my power, became my
Mm.
superpower, became
Mm-hmm.
something I could leverage, became something that, and in your menstrual phase, by the way, it's one of the most psychic times because your right and your left uh, brain hemispheres are more active, more communicative than any
Right.
other phase. So you legit will hear messages and when you're honoring that time because and this is just like, it's mirroring the universe, just like you said in the seasons. It's what do I need to shed, not only from my
Mm-hmm.
body, but
Mm-hmm.
emotionally to move forward to the next cycle? Because if we
Mm-hmm.
don't take that time, we're only moving forward with a bunch of crap.
Yeah.
So it's very, very, very important. So of course, by design, our society would be built on avoiding the menstrual phase
Mm.
because people that know their body and can leverage those messages and know what to shed and know what boundaries to have can't be controlled very easily.
Mm-hmm.
So the powers that be wouldn't like that very much,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but that could be a whole other episode.
Yes, it is. It definitely is. Honestly, I mean, there's a ton of stuff in here that could be
Yeah.
other episodes. So
Yeah.
we'll try and schedule that and work that out for the next season for sure.
Yeah.
But I mean, so healing yourself of this obviously changed everything for you. You had lived in not only the physical pains of it for so long, but the emotional piece of it. Because there's
Mm-hmm.
no doubt that there, just like we were talking about with the shadow work stuff, no doubt that there's some part of you that thinks, I must be broken. Like, why
Mm-hmm.
is this happening to me? Why can't I just be like a normal woman? And
Mm-hmm.
right?
You are normal. That's the thing. And
I
actually, I
know.
heard something interesting the other day that endometriosis and PCOS and a lot of diseases that kind of fall under that
Mm-hmm.
category is the body's response to women being diminished for so long
Mm-hmm.
that a lot of these diseases are based on estrogen dominance.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the body's collective ancestral way of saying, oh, estrogen femininity was so squashed is a body's way of having an overload
Right.
of
Yeah.
estrogen, which I thought was a really interesting, and it could be because when we heal ourselves, me healing myself heals others.
Yeah.
It heals because all is one. It heals my entire family line because that's how epigenetics really works. When you
Right.
pass to, not only do you
Correct.
pass down your genes, you pass down trauma and all this other stuff. And
Absolutely.
because all time is happening at the same time, we're just experiencing it linearly. Because I have healed myself, it time more works like a circle.
Mm-hmm.
It healed everyone else too, and it
Mm-hmm.
heals the collective. That's why if
Yeah.
you want to help other people, heal yourself
Yeah.
first.
Well, and that's why too, like if you study around emotional, psychological wounding and how it manifests in the body, a lot of conditions that are in the female reproductive system, and so it correlates to this buildup of estrogen, is
Mhm,
because emotionally, mentally, you're denying your feminine energy, you're denying your feminine side, and
mhm,
you've typically stepped into either a place where you're over giving from a place of masculine driven action,
mhm,
um or like you're denying your emotions because we don't want to be seen, because we are in such a masculine driven society so much, and particularly for professional women, that they, I know I did this for myself, how I didn't end up with like period issues, reproductive issues, I don't know. It's honestly a miracle because that's truly how I survived, and it served me for a long time. But yeah, so it, to me it makes complete sense because that's something that I kind of study for fun, which is weird to a lot of people are like, that's what you do for fun. I'm like, yeah, I totally take all
nice.
that.
Love it.
But it's the science side of it, is that when we are mentally, emotionally shutting down our feminine side and the feminine aspects, it makes sense that there's a buildup of
Mhm,
estrogen in the body, which is
mhm,
causing all this stuff to go haywire and not function the way it's supposed to. Because when we embrace it and integrate it emotionally, mentally, energetically, then the
mhm.
body also falls into sync and balances everything out. It allows it to work in balance. So, yeah, I'm glad you
Yeah,
brought that up.
the body knows. The body
Body
knows. It's
knows.
so smart if we would just listen. And
Mhm.
that's essentially how I began to heal myself because well, I was forced to listen because that's
Right.
the silver lining of
Yeah.
being in that much pain is that you are either it's complete surrender. You
Mm.
either suffer or you shut the fuck up and listen. And
Yeah.
it's like it's just one of those things, you can be a slave or you can be free.
Mhm.
And it when you get to that amount of pain or that kind of extremity, the polarities are that extreme.
Mhm.
You can be and we need to be a slave for
Mm.
maybe a certain amount of time. I needed to be a victim for a certain
Sure.
amount of time.
Sure.
I realized that I was the one that held the keys the whole time. And when you realize that, it's a journey. Then you're free, but your freedom, that's the gift. That's the you earning your freedom. Like,
Mhm.
I heard someone say the other day, there's no free lunch in the quantum space. There's no free
Mhm.
lunch in the universe. But the best part about that is because there's no free lunch and because you earn it, it's always yours. No one can take it
Yeah.
away. You know, it's not
Yeah.
free. It's not free. You earn it through these trauma that leads us to our purpose and all this other stuff, or through many different ways of
Mhm.
kind of earning that.
Mhm.
But it's the healer's journey, it's the hero's journey, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, it's just the best tasting lunch ever because no one can ever, ever, ever take it away. It's
Yeah.
completely yours because you learned it, you knew it, you are that.
I love that. I just wanna let that sit there because I think that is so important if we can understand that no one can ever take that away then.
Yes.
God forgive you and bless you if you decide to give it up. Because we do have free will, so that is an option, but once you get it and it's yours forever,
You
for
can't
sure.
unknow something. Yeah,
No. No,
can't
you really
unknow it.
can't. You really can't. I know. Meredith, this has been awesome. Like I said, I know there's gonna be a ton more. I hope that you and I can do this again and talk about other things. But most important right now, you have so much to share. I just think you're so special and you have so much to share with the world in so many ways that you're not even doing yet. That's my intuitive take. I just got chills when I said that to you, by the way.
Oh,
So but tell everyone how they can connect to you, how they can follow you, see your art, get your book, all that.
sweet. I am everywhere. If you Google me, I'm
I
everywhere.
love that.
Um, yeah, so it's just my name, meredithochoa.com is my art website. And that's more of obviously the creative side, art pieces for sale. I have these really, really fun little minis that I love, these
Oh, I love
acrylic block.
that. Do they come in an
Yeah.
acrylic block like that? Nobody else can
Yeah.
see this, but you and I can see it. I love
Okay.
that. Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
they're
they
on my
can if
website.
you make video out of it, which I
Oh,
will
that's true.
do.
That's true.
Yeah.
But these are the every phase series that I was talking about, how I
Oh,
healed myself.
nice.
Each of the pieces I have is the original beautiful big piece, but then I also do like a limited edition acrylic block piece, which I
I
just love
love.
mentioning those because they're just so fun.
I
They're
love
bite
them.
size.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
that's
then you can
fabulous.
like it can like you can have art without it taking over your home.
Mhm,
It's, just a lower price point. They're $50.
mhm.
They're still limited edition. So it's like a really great way to be able to get into collecting original art.
Yeah.
Uh, so, and then I have from there, if you go to click on photo portfolio, it'll take you to my services and more of like the commercial side that I do portraiture and photography. So that's another effing
Mhm.
artist.com.
Which I love.
Thank you.
I'm saying anybody that listens to me knows I love to swear, so I love that that's what you said.
Listen, art is far too important to take seriously.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yes, it is like the anti-sales statement, but it is basically saying I get it
Yeah.
by being like this.
Yeah. For sure. For sure.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right. And you're on Instagram. Do you have
I'm
both
on
things on
Instagram.
Instagram? And you can get there from your website?
You can get there from my website,
Okay,
and my
perfect.
Instagram is Meredith W. Ochoa. I'm on Twitter. I'm on LinkedIn. Love LinkedIn. Very active on LinkedIn. I'm on
That's how we met.
Facebook. That's how we met. So,
Yeah.
yeah, LinkedIn for the win.
All right. Awesome. Well, again, thank you so much for being here today. I can't wait to have you again another time.
Thank you so much. I'm so humbled and just so grateful to have met you. So,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah. Sojourners, thank you for listening in again this week. We look forward to having you back again next week. And don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share your favorite episodes. Till next time.